Have you ever been gaming or working online classes and your internet service constantly gets interrupted? First Nations Fiber is about to ensure that just won't happen again. Get ready for high speed at a new level. Click on fnfiber.com and sign up today. First Nations Fiber, empowering people through connectivity.
Welcome to The Cycle. I'm Brandon Bordeau. The last time we were talking about sports was back in December, and we weren't sure when the next time would be. But we're pleased to announce that every team in Kahnawake minor hockey has completed the season with the exception of one, and we'll get to that team shortly. Let's start off with the results from the U11C League. Now, a lot of our teams had, I guess, what you could call not strong records during the regular season, but in the playoffs, every single team, with the exception of one, won a playoff game. So a lot of our teams, including this team we're going to talk about, the U11C team, were heavy underdogs going up against a team from Valleyfield, the number 2 seed in the league, a team which had beaten the Mohawks 5-1 and 5-0 during the regular season. And they scored a goal 2 minutes into that game to take a 1-0 lead, but the Mohawks tied it with 3 minutes to go. And Wagahawagu Thomas was huge in the shootout, stopping both Valleyfield shooters, while Jonadate Thompson and Kirk Horn each scored to give the Mohawks a really big upset, 2-1 win over the number 2 seed, the Valleyfield Braves, in the first round. That elevated them into the quarterfinal. Jonadate Thompson scored, but that was the only goal the Mohawks were able to come up with, as they just unfortunately fell short. 5-1 against the Vaudreuil Titans, but still a very memorable playoff run for that team. U11A Mohawks, again, the 11 seed taking on the 2 seed in the first round, and once again, it was the Mohawks with the upset as Kahnawake won 3-2 over the Chateauguay Dukes, the number 2 seed during the regular season. And that vaulted the Mohawks directly into the quarterfinals, where they lost, unfortunately, 2-1 against the HRS Hawks. The Mohawks had everything going for them in the last 3-4 minutes of the game. Goaltender was out. They kept the puck and the pressure in the Hawk zone. Unfortunately, they just could not come out on top. The netminder for the Hawks was spectacular, Anthony Waugh. So congratulations to them. A tough loss for the Mohawks, but that team really grew during the course of the year. U11A Mohawks coming up short, losing 2-1 to HRS. Now let's jump to the U13C Mohawks. This team had a rough regular season. They finished at the bottom of the league standings, but ended the year very strong, winning 8-4 over the 4 seed Huntington in the regular season finale, but they came up short, losing 5-1 in the first game against the HRS Hawks. Onyx Kirby had the goal in that one, and last night they came up short, losing 3-0 to Huntington in the quarterfinal. So the U13 C Mohawks eliminated in the quarters. They had a lot of first-year players on that team, though, and that team's only going to get better. The players will get better moving forward. Looking at the U13A Mohawks, they won their first game over the number 3 seeded Chateauguay Barons by a final count of 3-2. So the upset win there, or 3-1, sorry. So the upset win elevated them into a quarterfinal showdown, or a second round showdown against the Chateauguay Dukes. And the Mohawks actually jumped out to a 5-2 lead. And the Dukes scored 2 goals in 15 seconds, and suddenly it was 5-4. Netminder was out, but the Mohawks were able to survive an avalanche of Dukes chances and punch a ticket through to the quarterfinal, where they would take on the number 1 seed, the Huntington Huskies, a team which has lost 1 game all year, and that game was because they had 5 players out due to COVID. And the Huskies took a 1-0 lead. The Mohawks tied it. Huntington scored to take a 2-1 lead. And the last 2 minutes of the game, the Mohawks had their goaltender out. They had a flurry of opportunities and just could not put the game tire behind the Huntington netminder, but still a really good end to the year for the Mohawks. Just could not find that game tire. Kahnawake there, you eliminated in the quarterfinals. Now, the U15A Mohawks, they were the number 11 seed coming in, taking on the 2 seed in the first round, the Soulange Seigneurs. And boy, did the Mohawks have themselves a first round to remember. They played their best game of the year and dominated the Seigneurs start to finish, winning 5-2. But Soulange survived elimination by beating Mercier in the next game and forcing the Mohawks to take on the number 1 seed in the league in a do-or-die game, with the winner advancing to the quarterfinals. And the Mohawks, they faced 11 power play opportunities, and Mercier scored 3 power play goals. Stowe McGregor had the shorthanded tally, but they came up short, losing 5-1 to the Braves, who then beat HRS the next night 7-0. So that team certainly looks like they're on a mission in that league. And tonight, being Tuesday night, Tuesday night of this recording, the U18B Mohawks will play in their quarterfinal game against the HRS Hawks. The Mohawks, the regular season champions, looked every bit as dominant in what was really a businessman-like performance against the Vaudreuil Titans. They won by a score of 8-1 in that game. The game was called at the end of the second period. They're hoping to keep that success up. A win tonight for the Mohawks would punch them a ticket into the semifinals against either the HRS Predators or the Vaudreuil Vikings. So the Mohawks and HRS Hawks will go at it in Rigaud on Tuesday night. That game will start at 6:30. All the championship games will be in Huntington. If the Mohawks are to make it to the finals, they'll be playing on Sunday night in Huntington at 5 o'clock. We got to make a couple of announcements too, because it's not just hockey we're looking at, even though this is the minor hockey wrap-up show. Kahnawake Hunters Lacrosse. That's right. Home opener May 1st. Their first game of the year will be April 30th in Akwesasne. We've taken the passion for Hunters Lacrosse over the last few years, and we'll bring it to that game in Akwesasne. And then, of course, a home opener on May 1st. Apparently, the snow's going to be coming along, too, because we have quite a few centimeters outside of our windows when we woke up this morning. And I'm Brandon Bordeau. That is the wrap-up, and we thank you very much for enjoying the programming. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time with baseball and lacrosse looks. I'm Brandon Bordeau. Onigiwahi.
The views and opinions of the guests expressed in this podcast do not reflect those of Udiwase and its employees.